Hey everybody, this is Sunless Studio, and we're officially live. And I will give you a fair warning. Tonight I am pretty tired. Like, I am struggling to keep my eyes open. So it's gonna be a pretty short stream, I'm thinking. Unless some kind of miracle happens and I get some random second wave. Then yeah, I'll probably cut it pretty short tonight. I did start a little bit later than normal because I was spending time with my husband. So you know, these things, they happen. So anyways, I am currently still working on this lovely commission for a pal of mine, Noel Joyous 8 is his name on Twitch. He goes by Noel or Leon Noel, any combination of that. And so yeah, I don't really have anything new to add to the stream. Lots of times I like to add like little features and things like that, and I do have some things in the works, which is super fun. But yeah, tonight I don't have anything really crazy, but I do kind of have like a couple of things. So I now have the ability to use my own voice commands, and I have a few of those. Just 3 triggers, which is pretty cool. It's pretty neat. So like anytime I think that I want to get a clip of something, I should be able to, if I've configured it right, I should be able to do it on the fly, completely remotely, just using my voice. So that would be super duper cool. So like if I have any moments that I just want to capture, you know, real quick, then that would be just easy to do on the fly for me, which is just super awesome. I just love all the tools that are out there and available for streamers. And a few of them like are just unbelievably good. And what I had recently discovered was that something called streamer.bot exists, and it's, you know, there's a million tools out there, and a lot of them are just, you know, they're just like all the others, and some of them are just like plugins, like for sources and stuff like that. But man, this application is really something else. It's incredible. There's so many things that you can do and customize, and just. You can really do so much, and it's the exact thing that I needed to put together my fun giveaway stream, which would come at 200 followers. So yeah, I have a bit of programming to do in that regard. There are certain things that I might need to do, and I might need to do a little bit of JavaScripting to get it to work right, but I think I might be able to do something really fun for that giveaway live stream, which I'm really looking forward to. Yeah. So, yeah, that's about it. And for me, Halloween was really fun. It really was quite a fun time. I went to go trick-or-treating with my daughter, and there was a lot happening there. I mean, she got scared. I guess we have some people in the neighborhood who are a big fan of fireworks, apparently. On Halloween, it just doesn't really seem like something you would do. But, you know, that's what they did, and so my daughter got pretty scared from the sounds of the fireworks, although I didn't see the fireworks, which is, you know, that kind of sounds a little concerning, am I right? America, but I'm pretty sure it was fireworks. I mean, yeah, just it was a pretty good time though, like really, it was, and she got plenty of candy despite being very scared and us having to just go home kind of early. She actually still did like fill up her bucket over full. I mean, there was no shortage of very generous people out there. Yeah, so it was very nice. I would have to say I did really enjoy that whole thing. Tonight I am using a smaller brush, just a little bit, for detailing. So, pretty excited. I think right now I'm just gonna be like using white paint and this smaller brush just to kind of get a little bit of detailed brushwork in there and to add some like highlights and things where I kind of like wasn't able to as much before, just because I was using the bigger brush, cat tongue. Yep, so I think tonight would be a good night to start, like, to just begin refining some details. Now over here I still have this stuff to do, but I do want to get a lot of the detailing and stuff done over here too. Yeah. Yeah, I am probably pretty low energy tonight. Hopefully that is alright. I didn't announce my stream or anything at all. So I mean, I probably should have, but, you know, like I said, I was a little bit late anyways, and, well, it happens. Goodness, this track from the new Kirby game. Newest, I shouldn't say new. Because, I mean, like, these days, new games come out all the time, and so when you say something's new, lots of times people are thinking it came out, like, that week or that month, you know? But, yeah. It's been out for a little bit. But, oh, gosh. This music is such a jam. Goodness. Having a really good time with this painting. It is taking me quite a bit of time, but I will say, I'll definitely say that it is, like, really fun. This painting, I think I'm gonna kind of, like, redo, like, the hue over here, just because I want it to kind of light up a bit more. You know, so let's just get kind of like a lighter base right here, and then start to kind of stain the color onto this this little white backdrop that I've kind of started to create here. definitely gotta be like a nice soft coloration. And we'll just kind of like, I think tonight, just kind of create some little highlight areas that we can kind of like stain with just some really thin paint, thin colors. Yeah, I think that would be really lovely. I got to meet my neighbors today. My neighbors who are my backyard facing neighbors. They are lovely people. They really are. Yeah, so I I had been worried all this time about the neighbors and how they feel about me having chickens. Like, you know, that's just one of those things that it's like, if you have chickens in your backyard and you're in kind of like a residential area, you tend to worry about what they think, because what they think really matters. Because if they want to complain, whether it's like, you know, and we are in an HOA, so the HOA, their rules are really like, if you have chickens, it's fine, as long as you don't receive complaints about them. So that's their kind of rule on it. And it's just one of those things where if you happen to have them, you just better hope your neighbors are really chill about it. Well, I think my neighbors are more than chill. At least those neighbors, the ones that are my backyard facing neighbors, and thus far I haven't had any trouble with any of my neighbors, but I will say especially them. They are quite lovely folks, and they were trimming their trees today, which hang over into our yard, and I personally really like their trees kind of like going into our yard a little bit, because it provides this perfect shade, and the way that it frames our backyard somehow makes it look nicer. And I don't know how to describe it. I think a lot of people would be pretty upset if there's a lot of foliage coming from trees of neighbors into their yard, but we are quite the opposite. We have used the trees' foliage and falling leaves and stuff as composting material, and it's just been really awesome. But yeah, anyways, they were trimming the trees, and I guess like I came out into the backyard and I was really surprised because they were talking to me because they were trimming the trees, and they were like apologizing for going into my backyard to pick up one of the branches that fell. And you know, I think it's really nice that they were very transparent about it. Like, I personally had no idea. I didn't know. And if they had to do that and they're trimming the tree, is perfectly reasonable. I really don't care. Like, it's all good, you know? I feel like I trust them enough because they've been there for so long. I've lived next to them for like 7 years, you know? So, pretty trusting. But yeah, it was very, very nice. They were very transparent about it and like just called out to me and let me know. And they were talking about the chickens and stuff like that, and I was really relieved to know that one of the kids, one of their grandchildren, just really likes the chickens, and when they come over to their grandparents' house, it's like they're talking to the chickens over the wall. I think that's super cute. That's super cute. The chickens They're such good girls. My chickens, I wouldn't trade them for the world. They're absolute loves, and yeah, it's just nice to know also that they are looking out for the chickens, because I guess there was a moment, and just hearing this dang near gave me a heart attack. Like, I couldn't believe what they had said, but they basically said that one of the chickens, they said that one of the bigger ones, I'm guessing they're either pointing to Coco or Dot, got up onto the brick wall. But I was like, when did this happen? Was it recent? I guess it was a few months back, so I'm just really grateful that it wasn't like anytime recent, because I was so worried. And I think that there was a problem that I had addressed pretty quick with like their ability to jump up onto the wall and everything like that. I noticed that there were some things that we have like planters in our yard that are in the corners. And those planters, they go up kind of high, but they're made of concrete, so I can't just get rid of them, you know, unless I took like a sledgehammer to them, you know, or yeah, like something to break them down, but I'm not gonna do that. So my brilliant plan was to take whatever I had, extra chicken wire, chicken fence, whatever you want to call it, and some extra posts that are tall, and some bird netting, and try and get the corners of the yard secured as much as possible, and so far it's held up. I haven't seen them try for a while, so pretty sure, I'm really hoping that I've addressed the problem, but now I'm considering clipping their little flight feathers. They don't need flight feathers, you know? They don't have any high perches or anything like that. They really can stay low with no problems. So, and they should anyways, you know? They should anyways. Yeah, so I was just like, so I guess one of the chickens did jump up on the thing, but they helped the chicken get back into my yard, which just made me so grateful and so relieved. I gave them a few eggs today, a few of the little lady's eggs, and yeah, I didn't know if like that's what they want or anything like that, and that's totally okay, but I've heard it's a nice thing, a nice gesture to do for your neighbors if like there's any kind of inconvenience with like, you know, having chickens. I compare it a lot to like having a dog or something. People's dogs, they can bark and be kind of noisy. And, you know, I grew up in a household where we always had dogs. Always had dogs in the house. And you know, I was always pretty used to the noise, but just, yeah, I mean, and having dogs and having chickens, I definitely myself prefer the sound of the chickens. And that's a personal choice, but I think at least so I've heard, people have differing opinions on that. So some people don't like the sound of chickens, like at all. And so, you know, it's fair, especially if they go early in the morning, you know, they start making their crazy noises. Which, yeah, it's fair. It is. Everybody has their own personal preferences. Also, lots of people have different schedules these days. Some people work nights. Some people, you know, just want to sleep in during the day because they work nights. And so, like, it might just be really inconvenient to hear those types of sounds during the day. Because I know I used to work nights. I used to work swing shift, which was at the casino nearby. I used to work, my shift I think was like 6:30 p.m. into, it was 6:30 into, I can't remember, 2:30 a.m., I believe. So it was like, yeah, it was like, yeah, it was like an 8-hour shift overnight into the early morning. And so, like, I would want to sleep during those hours. I don't know if I would wake up to the sound of chickens, but, like, especially in someone else's yard, but some people might. So I can understand how it could be a problem. We're very self-conscious about it over here. I was gifted a coop, and my husband, he always wanted fresh eggs. And so he kind of always wanted, you know, us to homestead a little bit. So, you know, I took it upon myself, and so that's part of what I do, and I definitely grew attached to the chickens, just like he predicted. So, you know, I would be absolutely devastated if I couldn't have them anymore, but, yeah, I'm just really grateful for those neighbors. I mean, hats off to the cool neighbors out there that just support you, like, in what you're doing, and you know, maybe you never talk, but maybe you just smile and nod, and, you know, just be there for each other, because you know you're cool, you know you're chill. I'm all about that. I really am. Yeah. So I gave him some of the eggs. Cool neighbors are cool neighbors. What are you gonna do? I am very fortunate. I did not have cool neighbors at my first place. My first apartment, first one I ever, like, I had a studio apartment, and that's when I was officially self-sufficient and on my own, as they say. My first residence I could call mine, but not really, because I rented an apartment. It wasn't like I owned property. But, anywho, it was a very different experience. The neighbors that I had there often took it upon themselves to vandalize my car and throw old moldy food at it and leave me very mean notes. And it was because they thought I wasn't supposed to be there, which is very silly, because how would they know? I actually had just moved in, and all of a sudden they were harassing me. And it was my assigned parking space and everything. Like, I am definitely a person who sticks by the rules in these ways. And I wouldn't park where I'm not supposed to park. That was my assigned parking, and yeah, there was really nothing I was doing wrong at all. So it was very disheartening when that was happening to me regularly. Well, as it turned out, the person that was doing it actually didn't even live at the apartments themselves. I guess they were the girlfriend of my neighbors who were downstairs, and they were something else. I could hear him crying through the floors for weeks after he broke up with her, and they yelled at each other a lot, and she was the one who was harassing me, as it turned out. So yeah, it's just I guess it's just gonna be different wherever you go. Who treats you good, who's kind of rotten, you know? It's a mixed bag. People are interesting creatures. You never know what you're gonna get. That's what I think. You never know what you're gonna get. I'm really enjoying painting in all of these rapids and rapid waters here. This does look quite a bit more bright blue. I feel like toning it down might serve as a little bit of... It just might be really good to tone it down just a bit. Now if I kind of add some of that, just a bit of it. There we go. And then we can kind of like make this a little bit less saturated, just slightly. When you mix two colors that are opposites from each other, those are called complementary colors. When you mix two complementary colors, which are opposites on the color wheel, they start to kind of even each other out. They become less saturated, which means the amount of, like, how brightly colored. How much color is there? Or is it kind of gray? Like, if it's pretty gray, that means it's desaturated. And if it's very, very colorful, and there's a lot of vivid color, that means the color is saturated. So when you mix the two colors that are opposites to each other on the color wheel, you start to kind of end up with something that's more desaturated because you're mixing a balance and you're kind of balancing the colors in closer together, and so they just become something that's, you can get like earth tones with it, so you can get like browns, grays, those types of things. They're just very desaturated, and yeah, you can get some really great colors with that, but they're definitely not highly saturated unless you want them to be. But yeah, if you want them to be, you can definitely mix it so that they are, but you definitely need to subtract one of the colors from the primary colors in that concoction. So you would probably want to do, if you want something that's a brown, that's like more like an earthy brown, you kind of want to have a little bit more red and yellow in there, so orange, and a little bit less blue. As you add more blue, you start to end up with something that appears a little bit more gray. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, except I'm using I'm using blues right now. So I'm using a little bit of white to make it lighter, but I'm also taking orange and blue, which are opposites from each other. Mix them up. And this kind of ended up as like some kind of desaturated, sort of muddy greenish color. But like, what's the opposite of green? Well, that's red. So I could add like a teensy dab of something like magenta, which is close to red on the color wheel. Actually, it's not really on the color wheel. It goes a little bit past the color wheel. But it definitely makes for a nice hue here. These are some fun little tips and tricks. So magenta isn't quite red, but at the same time, I just like the way the magenta interacts with the other paints. So, it is very thin. It's a very thin paint. So, I thought it would be a nice idea to do that. That'd be great. Yeah, here we go. This is very pleasant. Very pleasant painting. Yeah, it's a pretty chill and quiet night. Although I do think that it's been pretty helpful to announce that I am streaming, to kind of like let everybody know. I know, as for myself, I am a pretty timid person, and I like the going live notifications to kind of speak for themselves, but I do know that they fail to send out quite often, and you know, I don't really like to pester people like that, but I think people don't really mind, so I might just start to do that now. I only did it once, and that was for the last 2 live streams, and it made me feel pretty awkward. I will say, I get pretty shy about it. Definitely do. And that is very silly of me, I think. Because why should I be so shy about it? I mean, I'm live streaming after all, right? So, just trying to put myself out there and just kind of enjoy painting with the company of other people. Although I think tonight I am pretty happy about having just a very chill night. I had to drink so much coffee to be like awake for this, and I'm not quite that awake. Anyways, like regardless. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job filling the air talking, but it's taken everything I got. Yeah, so I think it's nice to fill the air with a little bit of banter, regardless if you've got anything to say as a streamer. Just because, you know, transferring some of these things into VOD and bringing them over to YouTube and stuff like that. It's nice. It's nice to be able to have that option, to be able to just kind of chat with the folks who may be listening over on YouTube. Very, very sweet. My wonderful daughter, she will sometimes just watch my live streams. My live streams ported over to YouTube. And it's just really sweet that she does that. Sometimes I'll just catch her watching my art, and then she feels inspired and she starts to paint herself, and you know, I'll set her up with paints and things like that, and she's my little artist. She's got so much love for art in her. I see it, and it brings me so much joy to see her enjoying making art. And you know, I've seen her make cute smiley faces in chalk. I've seen her do so much. And she just does a wonderful job. And I just think, if I nurture this through her life, I really hope that if she chooses to, she has the fairest chance she can get to be what she wants to be. And you know what? Maybe she doesn't want to be an artist. And I think that's perfectly good. If she doesn't want to be an artist, she shouldn't be. But, you know, I just want to give her a fair shot. I know there are a lot of parents out there, or at least there have been, unfortunate individuals who are artistic at heart and want to express it. And that artistic vision and that artistic side of them doesn't get nurtured by their parents. In fact, sometimes it gets squashed. Probably out of fear. The parents think, you know, it's only going to end in heartbreak, like, you know, starving artist, like, you know, all of those things are very scary, to think, like, what if our kid can't, like, you know, pay the bills because they chose to be an artist as a profession, and that's pretty silly. I think that a kid should be able to express their creativity, and that's a really good time to hone some skills. And of course you can do it late in life too. You absolutely can. There are a lot of people who learn it late in life who hone their artistic skills later, but those people have to get past those barriers, because lots of those people, their dreams were crushed in childhood due to stuff like this. And I just think if everybody was given a fair shot and at least believed in for what they wanted to be and what they wanted to do by the people who should be supporting their dream the most, I think a lot of people would be chasing their dreams and be fulfilling those dreams instead of, you know, chasing after things like that typical 9-to-5 job. And you know what, I think that for some people that's a comfort zone, and I think that it's nice to be able to have that to lean on. But I also think that there are some people out there who have this fiery, burning passion inside of themselves that they squash and they suppress deep down in them, because they are the fear was instilled in them as children that they would never make it as a creative person. And I do mean artists pretty broadly. I don't mean loosely, but like broadly. Like, there are musical artists, there are artists who create just like assets and things like that. There are artists that paint like me, but there are artists that do digital art or animation. Or the thing is the people who are scared of their kids getting into art, I think they don't really know how broad of a spectrum that is and how much the skill transfers into all of these other professions and things. Visual effects artists, like those are very sought after positions in, like, you know, bigger companies and stuff like that. And it's just you know, there's some really good high-paying jobs out there. But then also, if you don't want to do a job, like, you can be either freelance or you can just kind of pave your own path and become your own. And I think that that's good too. But and also, I mean, there's never too much art in the world. Like, just think of all of the art that goes on everything, like product packaging, just like the walls of a building, like, and I'm not talking like vandalism, like, I mean, that's cool too sometimes, depends, but like I mean, like, there are some buildings out there that are designed to have like print on them. That's really cool. And then you also have things like decor in stores with licensed artwork where the artist earns royalties off of those a lot of times. And there are so many other things out there. I was contacted by a mahjong company. I mean, there are things out there that you don't even think of. Mahjong company that creates mahjong tiles. They contacted me because they wanted me to create dragon art for their tiles. And so I did. Now, whether or not they used the art, I really have no idea, but they paid me, so I don't really know. Anyways, I made the art for them, and it was very cool to be able to have that, opportunity. It was really wonderful, truly fantastic. Yeah, and I just think there is plenty of opportunity out there for artists and people who just enjoy the heck out of art, because I see it all the time where kids just don't have that part of them nurtured, and I think that should change. I do. My kid sure as heck isn't gonna have that problem though. Whatever she wants to be, really. I'm excited to see the kind of person she is going to grow into and evolve into. Yeah, it'll be... It already is, like, just cool seeing her develop as a person. I think that if I darken this up over here, the shadow, we're gonna kind of paint the shadow of this down into here, and then these colors will kind of like join and blend and become a nice dark hue. It really is a good feeling to be painting again. I can't stress that enough. So I didn't even know if I wanted to live stream tonight. I'm feeling all tired, but it's just good to get some of this stuff done. It's just a really good feeling. Okay, let's bring some of this stuff in. Kind of want to lighten this up a bit and kind of pull that down into here. Oh boy. Goodness gracious. It definitely messed that up a little bit. That's okay. The cool thing about acrylics is you can just paint over your mistakes. That's not even a big deal. Here we go. Yeah, so I just like to kind of relax and paint. Like tonight, I think it's just a really good night to kind of get some stuff done and not have to go all crazy with everything. This waterfall's starting to come along as well, just like the other one. I think the other one could definitely use a little bit of a lightened, just kind of like a brighter rainbow down in here. But before I get to that though, I think I want to continue on like this kind of gray color. We're just gonna keep using that. This gray that I've kind of created here. We're gonna kind of climb up this waterfall and just kind of start filling in a little bit of detail here. Yeah, very nice. I'm so excited. I'll be setting up the next giveaway, but you know, it may be a ways away. I did get pretty excited because last week, it's probably thanks to Noel, the coolest dude on the planet Earth. 8 follows came rolling through from some lovely folks who stopped in and decided to support. And so I just was so stoked about that, even though I have not been streaming really lately. And it's not because I don't want to stream, it's just because I've been definitely busy. Priorities, I'm often outside, working on things that are outside. And by the time I get inside, I'm pretty tired. And, well, I don't really get to go into my workshop until everyone's really sleeping around here. And by then, I'm wiped out because I get up before everyone else and staying awake after everyone else is... It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's why tonight it's just gonna be a pretty short stream. I think I'll probably go until most likely 1 o'clock, but it's very possible that I might go until like 12:30 or something. You know, if I'm making like good progress and I'm like so tired that I can't keep my head up anymore, which I seem to be okay rolling on the coffee. Tonight I just have it in this cup. I don't really even have it in a regular person mug. It's pretty cold coffee from this morning, so it's not nice hot coffee for a mug. It's more like you know, old coffee that was chilled. Old coffee that was pre-chilled for me. And you know, I made it this morning. I chilled it for tonight. It's iced coffee without the ice. I don't know what to call it, but you know, it's getting me by. Maybe it ain't the greatest thing in the world, but hey, it does the job. It does the job. There is something in this painting that has been bugging me pretty bad, and it's this hand right here. In fact, I think it would be a good time to start kind of like creating a dark color, a really dark color. Just a teensy bit of vermilion. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and so I kind of want to take this brush and go. Okay, so this is kind of gonna mark like all right, there we go. Okay, so I'm just kind of mapping out like how that hand is gonna kind of look there, and then also like the knuckles here. We gotta like really pay attention to the knuckles. I think the knuckles have to be maybe further up or possibly further up or further down. I'm really trying to picture it right now, how knuckles look when you're doing that. Okay, I think some of these actually have to kind of come out a little bit more. Alright, I'm looking at my knuckles and I see them. And then, it's kind of like a... kind of like something similar to that, but I definitely think that this comes down quite a bit further. I may have to play around with this until I get it right. That's okay. You know what? I'm not really in a rush to get it right quite right now. Because I do have some time before I actually get to fleshing the rest of the statue out. So, not terribly concerned with it. Although it is very nice to just have that kind of thing done and out of the way first. Right? Like, at least that's how I feel about it. So, I've done that. Maybe I'll look at it mirrored later. Just throw it in the mirror and see how weird it looks. He looks like he has a robotic hand right now. It looks pretty chrome. But that's fine, you know? Like, for now, obviously it's not gonna stay like that, but like, you know, it's pretty okay. Pretty okay with that. I was thinking about adding some little feature in my live stream. And this little feature would do things like, I was thinking of adding two little features that behave in the same way. The features would be like one would give you kind of like a fortune cookie, and it would break open and give you a random like a random fortune, like an artist's fortune for people who are artists and creators. So this would essentially like be kind of like maybe good luck, bad luck, or it might give you an uplifting, just positive note. And then there would be another one that would behave in a similar fashion, but it wouldn't be a fortune cookie. Instead, it would be a random note, but this random note would be like little random art tips, I guess. Just something that maybe you know, maybe you don't know. But it would just be little tips and things that it would just be a random generated, picked from a list of ones that I've pre-written. Probably a really long list that I will have. And you just get one random little thing that might help you, maybe. And I feel like that would be, you know, pretty low point reward, something that you can just redeem. Probably not a really long cooldown or anything like that. Just something that you can come here for either a nice little tidbit of info, or you could come here for your fortune to be read. You want a little fortune cookie? You can get a little fortune, artist fortune. Special, very special. And you know, if you're not an artist and you redeem it, totally do it. Doesn't matter, right? Fortune's a fortune. That's how I feel. Will you be lucky or will you not? Or will you just receive a nice uplifting positive message? That's very possible. Very, very possible. Yeah. So I just thought that would be fun. Perhaps. All right, so it has officially reached 12:03. Instead of ending the stream, I'm not doing that, don't worry. I am just going to put us on a little break and probably go get some water and, run an ad while I do it. By the way, you guys, really quick, let's go ahead and throw this in here. No ads. All right, check this out. I'll go ahead and read this. I run ads on break screens to squash pre-roll ads. You won't miss a live moment due to manually run ads. I do not rely on ads for revenue, so you have my permission to use ad blocks on my channel. The best one out there can be found here, and here's a lovely little link to a Discord server. It is not my server, by the way. Just a fair warning, that is not my server. However, that server will lead you to a nice little app and just a community surrounded by people who can troubleshoot things, and you'll have other people talking about it, so it does kind of help with the credibility because you don't want to download random apps, right? So it's just nice to see that there's a community that is also using the app and talking about it, and some very responsive devs. And I definitely stand by this. I use it specifically for just testing and stuff. But I don't really watch Twitch all that much, to be honest, as a viewer, but I try to come in and support my friends, and I'll just use the base app. You can install the base app and you can install this at the same time on your device, but I definitely recommend that you do not use ad blockers on channels that don't give their expressed permission. And please enjoy it at your own risk. I adore you and I hope you enjoy. And with that, I will leave on a nice little break, skis. All right, you guys, that does mean that I shall see you quite soon. All right, hello. We are back, and I got myself some water, and I will say that it doesn't really wake me up, but that's okay. um, I think, kind of have an idea with this in particular. I think it's good. It's positive. I just kind of wanted to darken that up for myself and possibly also kind of make these fingers a little bit shorter looking. I'm not really sure how I want to handle that right now, but I'm just kind of taking it slow tonight, taking it easy. I think, oh. I'm like kind of seeing it in my head just a little bit. Every time I get up, I feel like I have to like take a look at this, and it almost feels like I can see the problem, but then I get to painting at it, and you know, it starts to look kind of weirder as I mess with it more. So I think I'm going to leave that for when I look at it mirrored, but there are a few things that I feel like I kind of want to tackle right now when it's probably good for me to like adjust my eyes to something else besides like the waterfalls and things. But I might just do that right after I kind of take care of that rainbow like I wanted to before. I think I'll do that first. Alrighty. I think if I just do this, and then I can hopefully kind of like implement the cool little rainbow effect. And also right afterwards I can start to kind of work on the hue of the fire around those gloves. So yeah, I think that would be really cool. Super fun. Let's go ahead and get some red on here. We're gonna go ahead and get a little bit of red and a little bit of vermilion. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of paint that on there pretty lightly. In fact, I might just use just pretty much plain vermilion. Might just be better to do it that way instead. Vermilion and whites. Just gotta kind of play around with these until they start to make a little bit of sense. I don't exactly have any paint thinner, so that alone does kind of make a little bit of a challenge. But I also don't really like the consistency of paint thinner, and I also, you know, I work with acrylics, not oils, but I have always kind of had like this weird fear of paint thinners, just because like paint thinners, at least back in the day, I know like had some chemicals in them that could cause like cancers. And so that's concerning. I find it to be pretty odd and concerning. And so, you know, I'm sure that that's not really a thing anymore. I'm rather sure. Definitely don't want to scare anybody with that. Especially if it's not true, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But it's just my own personal weirdness with it. So yeah, I mean, I just like to be cautious. Just like to err on the side of caution. That's how I feel. I wonder if anybody here has any experience teaching other people how to use a computer program. My husband recently, he started taking on trying to learn to use the program, the Adobe program After Effects. He really wants to learn it, and so I have it. I have After Effects, and so I thought, oh, well, you can experiment with the program in my computer. No problemo. But it is hard for me to teach someone to use a computer software, even if I have experience in it. And I do have experience in After Effects, but more or less used for like creating my own animations and things and creating my own animated assets. So I don't exactly have experience in like the visual effects for things like a skit and stuff like that. Like I know green screening, I know keying, I know the little lasso tool, like the little whip tool that pairs null objects to functions. I know I know masking, I know like layer styles, I know animations and animated presets, particle effects, stuff like that. I know how to do like just animations, keyframe assistant, like animating different parameters. I know how to do that. However, I struggle so hard to teach a person who is at the computer what I know. It's so hard for me. I don't know how people do it. Hats off to the computer teachers. I think that those people who teach on computers a lot of times have those screen share types of things going on. And how else would you do it, really? Because I have such a hard time explaining and trying to convey my my thoughts. Like I don't know what the verbiage is going to be like. Like I know kind of vaguely where to look for certain settings. I'm like, thinking I know that setting can be found here if you look for it here. So, that's kind of my thought process. I think, like that setting can be found here if you look for it here. You know what I mean? But it could be like worded like this or worded like that. And so it's just like explaining that to somebody would take way longer than just doing it myself. So I tend to just swoop in there and just try to do it myself. And he gets a little frustrated because it's like, well, I want to do it. I want to learn, right? Like that's what he says. And that's fair. Yeah, he wants to learn. So that's definitely a fair point. I'm definitely not trying to take that away. So I try to sit back, and then whenever you need something, I try to help. But once again, there I am trying to take the reins. I don't know how computer teachers teach without trying to take the reins. Because it is hard. It is. It truly is. Because my first instinct is to take the mouse, sit down, and do it myself. And that's not teaching. That's not how you teach somebody. So, yeah. I mean, definitely trying my best, but I'm just not really good at teaching on computers, and I just wonder, like, what's the technique? I want to be taught. I want to be taught to teach. How do you teach somebody to use a computer program? Especially if you can't see the words on the screen because they're so small. Only one person can be right there in front of the screen. And the text is that small. Yeah. Even with my glasses on, I find it to be very difficult. Next to impossible without my glasses. I mean, I don't think I could read anything that's on the screen without my glasses. Especially in After Effects. Text is very, very small. I'm sure there's a setting to adjust that, but you know, you want to be able to see all the boxes and everything like that. Yeah, but how do you teach? How do you teach a person to use a software when that software is incredibly complicated? Like, you know? There is no way I am the only person that feels this way. No way. Alrighty. Look at that. Now that is a fiercely colored rainbow in that waterfall there. It's definitely looking quite a bit more vibrant than it was. We've really, really improved it, which I'm pretty happy with. I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm gonna go in there and kind of like pull some of that color through and kind of mix it a little bit. There we go. Oh yeah. Go. Very nice. How fun. Okay. Okay, that was very, very fun. So now that I've done that, I am going to put a lot of focus in on this fire here. So I haven't really touched this whole area for a while now, but I do think that it's about due time. I'm going to use some white here. I'm going to kind of like create a V shape where the legs stand apart, and I do think that I probably want to bring this down a bit more and kind of give it like a little bit of movement there. Okay, and then this one too. I want to give it a bit of movement here too. And I definitely need to darken this section right here to kind of remind myself that that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to put like black right there. I'm just going to put black right here. Okay. And that's kind of like a tip to myself. Like, I'm telling myself, darken that up. And also, don't be afraid to do so. Do not be afraid to darken it up. And I also need to darken some of this stuff up around here. Yep. Here we go. Okay. And then around here as well. And then over here as well. So I kind of need to, I think, kind of like maybe lower this section over here quite a bit because of the character's body type. Like their body is a little bit more, I feel like a little bit more linky. And so I think that it would be good to kind of pull everything down a little bit. So I would say like linky, but they have like kind of a bit of a tall-ish body or a long-ish body, but they're also kind of short at the same time. They definitely have kind of like rounded shoulders that seem like they come down a little bit lower, so I think that maybe making a note to myself to kind of like bring the sleeves down a bit more would be a good thing for me to do. Okay. And we can kind of like create this whole thing. I definitely want this to come around like that quite a lot more. There we go. I'll kind of just yeah, here we go. Kind of just want to like add like a deep shadow there just for now. All right. I think that's gonna help me like to understand where I'm placing things and where I'm gonna go next with the painting. Okay. And I think that the sash should come down quite a bit further. So it's just gonna be, once again, like kind of a note to myself. And here we are. And kind of like use this. Yeah, there we go. All right, that's starting to look a little more like the way that I want it to. Okay, very nice, very cool. And let's get ourselves like a nice deep red so that we can kind of, just like a red or a magenta hue that we can kind of surround this with. Just a deep color. A deep magenta. I like magenta a lot because the magenta itself is it's very transparent. And so you can kind of overlay it onto things to just affect its hue a little bit without having to cover up details. It's very nice to have that option, you know, to kind of make something look a little bit warmer without really covering up anything as far as the details go. It's just nice. It really is. So fun. Tonight's Saturday night, right? Saturday night's a pretty slow night. Every Saturday night I've ever streamed has always been really chill. So then I guess it's a really good night to be kind of low energy, right? That's pretty good then. That's pretty good then. Probably grab a little bit of red and that magenta and just kind of start layering it in. Bring in some of that water. Just kind of tint everything. Wow. I just love the fire. Painting the fire was so much fun. You guys didn't get to actually see that part, unfortunately. But you know that's okay because I am capturing time-lapse footage for everything, which means you will be able to view all of it when I am finished. The whole thing will be viewable, and so you won't really miss anything. So much fun. Thinking probably after I kind of tint up the other side and perhaps the top, then I'll probably end the live stream and just hit the hay then. Probably. Very most likely. Very, very most likely. Alrighty. I'm thinking of a way that I can implement such a feature as recommended raids. Like, who would you recommend that I raid, right? But I want to do it in a way where a person can actually run a command. And I would have to give permission to enable the command. And then I should be able to allow somebody to pick the person that we raid. Now, of course, this would like open things up to, you know, people potentially coming in here and raiding themselves, right? But who's gonna know without, you know, being here and watching for a bit? Of course, you could come in here and raid yourself. I feel like if it's like every single time, though, I think that could be pretty ridiculous. But, yeah. I think it could be a good thing, to be honest. Definitely do. Could be a very nice thing. Yeah, I do like features that can be used by other folks who are just joining in that would like to run a command or something like that. That's always fun, really. I think it'd be cool to kind of hand that control over to the people who support me. Because I never know who to raid, and especially at this time of night, it's just impossible to find people. And, you know, the people you find, it's just so few and far between, and I mean, what would be what would be the matter with kind of handing the reins to people who might know who would be like active and everything at this time. I've gotten my best suggestions from people who have been here to suggest a raid in real time, so I think it would just be nice, you know? Definitely think it'd be nice. Okay, let's get a little vermilion in there, just because it's not saturated quite enough. Get a little bit of magenta in there. Go. Alrighty. We'll take some of that and we'll put a little yellow there. Alright, cool. So fun, so much fun. Alright. It's very fitting that I'm painting fire while the Fire World music is playing from Panel to Pawn. Very fitting. I mean, when does that ever happen? Truly, this is probably the only time. Okay. A little bit of vermilion. And then, of course, we can add some particles by using the little brush tap technique. That technique has helped me through a lot of particle, I guess, sort of looking things. Okay, here we go. I think it would be a good time to do a teensy bit of particle stuff. Not a ton, just a teensy bit. And we're going to use some white paint. Once again, not a ton, just a teensy bit. I have to kind of peel it open because it's all dried up by now. So that's a lovely sight. I'm sure you enjoyed watching me just peel that. Alright, so we do need to get some of this paint just on the ends here. Okay. And then I need another brush. A little bit harder brush. I need to do this. Oh no! Ah, no, not that. So you just kind of tap it. Tap a tap a tap a tap. Of course, it's not going exactly where I want it to go. Pretty much at all. Which is pretty strange. It might just not be the right consistency right now. This paint perhaps needs to dry a little bit more or something. I'm not really sure what the cause is. I don't really use the tap technique enough to know what could cause something like that. Perhaps too little paint, too little of it, not enough on the brush. Perhaps it could be that. And then with that, of course, he's got a little bit in his hair there. Which that's fine. I'm gonna go over pretty much all of this anyways, but I'm gonna take a really, really small brush now. Just a really pretty small detailing type of brush. And then, very, very nice, take this. And then we're just gonna kind of paint some of these in. Yeah. And just kind of like get the particle effects going and just kind of like leave little circles where the paint did touch down, but not all of them. I'll leave some of them as like teensy little specks, but some of them I will just kind of move into like a nice little circle. Because it's so randomly scattered, you won't leave any kind of like patterns or anything. So interestingly, people tend to have a hard time with random in their head. Like when you paint something, a lot of times you're gonna paint like repetition. There's gonna be repeating patterns, whether or not you're like aware of it. You just repeat patterns. And of course, it's a really good thing to kind of like exercise your brain so that you try not to do that. But repeating patterns is still a thing that artists tend to struggle with. So doing something like tapping the brush kind of forces you to create a random pattern out of little specks without having like, you ever try to sit there and draw stars and you figure you draw them in the most randomized pattern possible, but they still somehow come out like looking like they are not random, like almost like they're spaced in a specific way, when really it looks so much less like a starry sky because you definitely had like some kind of influence in where you placed all of those little specks. Well, tapping the brush and just kind of making random spatters here and there kind of eliminates that. Your bias on where you place your brush, where you place your paint, and where you make your dots completely goes away, because at that point you don't really have any control when you're tapping it into a random spatter. You just kind of do it and it just goes where it wants to go. And because of that, you're going to get ones that are really close together, that are tiny, and then you're going to get ones that are bigger, and just some of them are like right next to each other or overlapping. Some of them are really far apart. And so you actually generate this randomness from it when you're doing it fully coherent and you're actually really trying to create a random pattern. It almost never just happens on its own. It never accidentally happens. Yeah. All right. So let me think. Yeah, to tell you the truth, I think that I'm probably going to end it really soon here in the stream, and then call it a night. But I think for some of these bigger ones, I just want to quickly make a nice circle around them. We'll use vermilion to start. A little bit of vermilion. Just to circle them. Some of the bigger particles, because we want them to be fire particles. But if they're just white specks, you don't really know what they are, because then they're not really glowing, right? So you gotta create a glow effect. And to do that, you have your white, which is the contrast. Circle it with some vermilion, which is kind of like the middle range of color that it's going to be producing as an outer glow. So we're just gonna pick vermilion because vermilion's a really good mid-range color that isn't super bright, but it's also not super dark. It's kind of in between. So circle some of the bigger ones with some vermilion. Probably leave a few vermilion specks in different places as well. Okay. And now that we've done that, now we're going to take some of this primary yellow. Primary yellow is a very thin kind of yellow, and I find it works really great for staining whites. So I'm not going to cover all of the white speck with this, but I think for this one I probably am, because I already covered a bit of it, like too much of it, with some vermilion. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go in between the border of the white and the vermilion with this, but we are not going to cover the white. We're just going to go around the border between the white and the vermilion. There we go. There we go. Just gotta keep doing that with all of them. And we're almost done with that part. It's a very, very, very small detail sort of thing, but it's good to do. And then I'm going to take some actual magenta and red and mix that really good. And then we're just going to go ahead and outline. Now we're going to outline the vermilion itself. I feel like the red is a bit too bright, so I'm just going to make it just the magenta. How fun. Gonna take some of that magenta. Oh, we're just gonna outline it. Just like that. So fun. I love painting fire stuff. You could probably guess that that's something that I enjoy. All right, you guys. With that, I think that I'm probably going to call it a night. It is a very short live stream because, yeah, I'm a bit sleepy. I'm a bit of a sleepyhead. And definitely trying to stay afloat, trying to stay awake as much as I possibly can. And you know, at least I made it 2 hours. Not too bad. Yeah, but I think sleep is calling me. And I know everyone else out there is probably partying because it is a Saturday night. Partying, having their Halloween parties, probably little late ones, and you know, people are having fun tonight. And as for me, I just want to sleep like an old person. So that's, I think, what I'm going to do. Have a beautiful night or day if you are watching this from a VOD. And yeah, I'll catch you next time. I should be streaming hopefully again within the next few days. If not, I will just probably work on progress on the painting and then possibly get to live streaming it again very soon. You know, I just don't know from day to day. That's just where my life's at right now. Yeah, so I take advantage of the times that I do get. So, yep, I shall see you next time. Have a beautiful night, and I'll see you later.